Another thing about spirituality that some mistake and some don't understand. Some are like, why me? Why this? Why am I so cornered? Why that, whatever. I'm sorry, but like, this is Sparta, okay? If you have had your energy elevated, then you were chosen for a blessing. And if you reportray it as something terrible, or you attempt to act in bad juju ways towards any energy that's sent your way as an actual blessing and help and support and advice, then the universal energy, it will just turn, well, against you and teach you a lesson. It's not some sort of like a, I don't know, gentle sliding fields, like beautiful watching of figure skating. You are the skater, and it's physics. It's very difficult. And it is actually, yeah, I know the whole manifestation thing, like everything is easy. Yeah, you can think so. You can ease your own mind and you can ease your own path by thinking this. But acting this way upon this all is just lack of discernment, lack of logical rationality, lack of literally understanding how spirituality, how physics, how quantum physics, particles, how it all works. It's complex. It's abstract. It's not absurd. Just because you don't know something, it doesn't mean it's absurd. You just don't see it. You just don't sense it. But you can learn to tap into it if you really are willing to pay attention to your own sensations, to your own senses, to your inner depth. But that takes work. Real work. But that's also a blessing. And many want that blessing, let me tell you why. Many actually are sitting there willing, oh, I wish something like that happened in my life to me. And when it happens, they are having the tower. They are having the biggest tower. They don't want to hear about it. They don't want to hear about it. Because they, in their own mind, imagined it absolutely differently. That's a problem. Spirituality is not a fairy tale. Spirituality is a real thing. And it's energy work. It's a soul work. Soul is your core of your very being that transcends space and time in many layers. And if you're able to grasp a thought, if you're able to suppress your ego for a little bit, to actually grasp some information, be more open to your development process, then you are able to count it in, you're able to dive into this, you are able to grasp more of that flow. It becomes more fluid for you, and then yes, it does become, as to say, per se, more easy. But spirituality itself, it's not a gentle field. One can forget about this. It can be very brutal. But it depends on your soul, how high it is, how perceptive it is, how able and how high is your energy potential, and where you're willing to go. What is your true motivation in your gut? What does your soul actually want? And if you pursue it, you are rewarded. If you push away the reward and act as if it's nothing, then, well, you are getting spanked spiritually. And actually, I'll share a secret. Those energies or people that you think that have brought karma upon you and that it's their fault, no, they did not do the spell work. It doesn't mean that they did the spell work. They're just energy sharers. They just get in touch with you, and they serve for a higher energetic purpose, however you want to put it. You might hate on them or not. You might hate on the energy around in the universe or not. But in the end, the blessing was there. It was about you, how you act upon it. And that again is a lesson. And I'm not saying, again, don't equate the, let's say, lesson to something actually outright abusive. Yeah, things sometimes happen. I'm not the one who's gonna say, if you had something abusive, that it means that spiritually universe was trying to teach you something. Yes, you can grasp something out of it. But no, as a whole, I'm not the one to say that. I'm not the one to tell you that you were in the blame by attracting this type of energy. No. It's more complex than that. And I'm not going to go ahead and blame people for attracting certain things and energies. It can be very in-depth. It can be linked to past life energy. It can be linked to energetic soul ties. And sometimes things are just unfortunate. And sometimes we can just spare the people and we can just give them an energetic hug and actually care for them. Sometimes this is what they need. Especially the victims of abuse, whether emotional or physical. Okay? I'm not an advocate for pushing a half-walking horse under the carriage or to rip them by dragons. I'm not the one to advocate this. But I want to tell you that spirituality can be a very brutal topic, and sometimes we really just need to, for some, we need to lend a hand. If they push it away, then they push it away. And sometimes falling into a hole is just the way it is. Sometimes they truly asked for it. Sometimes people deserved it, but sometimes they are the victims of the energy juju that was surrounding them. And sometimes indeed there are those who push this energy upon somebody. And it's much more complex than what some say is a mere mirror of an energy towards a person. No, it's not. It's much more complex than that. And those are just some spirituality freaks that don't understand the complexity of it. They can say whatever they want, really. But yeah, and sometimes this type of energy really is linked to past lives and to past energies, and it doesn't mean that the person really did something outrageous themselves. It can mean that somebody else casted something upon them. There are different judgments for different things. Sometimes the judgments, even of the gods, can be really irrational and outright crazy. We can observe this in mythology. So don't equate a judgment to the highest rationality. You need to question it. You always need to question it. You always need to use your discernment. A judgmental person at the same time doesn't mean they are stupid. Doesn't mean they are just rigid, blunt, unacceptable, harsh. They can be rational and they can actually untangle things. And they can see things in a very various manner, but it just means that maybe they got to the core of the matter. It varies, very strongly varies. It varies on the person, it varies on the energy, it varies how potent they are. And really, nothing can be easily judged at the same time in spirituality. One has to attain and obtain certain complexity of thinking, the depth, and by diving in that depth means they've done extensive shadow work, they've done extensive light work at the same time. It's like light and shadow intertwined, means they are deep enough to actually grasp some things. I'm saying some things, not all things. So yeah, that's basically that. But it's like, don't equate spirituality to something that's like easy or anything, but it's just how it is. And let me tell you what, nobody's ready. Nobody's ever ready. This is like the biggest core message. Nobody is ever ready. Don't tell me that, oh, when you'll be ready, you'll have your dark night of the soul or whatever sort of development as it is called in its title. No. You're never ready. That is a true, raw soul work. You're never ready, but you go through it. And if you go through it, you are a strong person. You're perceived as strong in the spiritual realm, in the energetic realm, in the information web. You're powerful then. And at least more strong and brave than the others who actually succumb to the mere 3D realities of life. And I thank you for it if you don't do this. And I thank you for it if you actually go for it and look into the depths of your soul. You are a strong person to me, and I support your continuous persistence and development. Thank you. Thank you for doing this soul work. That's all. That's the message.